Oh, hello, this is 𝗧𝗺𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗧, the Positive Vibes artist. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here and you like what you see, I ask that you please subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment. Comments really help to get my videos out in front of new eyes, and you would help my channel so much. I appreciate you all, and I hope you enjoy the video. Today's video is a review of the Presidential Oath fountain pen by Ellington Pens. Ellington Pens is a company out of England, and the components of the pen are engineered in England and they're assembled in China. Their pens currently come in medium, fine, and extra fine nibs. I purchased this pen myself, so it's a completely honest review. All my reviews are honest anyway, whether I purchase the items or the company sends me an item for review. And I thought I'd let you all know what I think of it. It's very affordable. It retails for $39.95 US, and it comes in this cardboard box. You get, it says the ultimate pen for explorers, creatives, and achievers. You do get a QR code. For a second there, I had a brain fart, forgot what that was called. You get a QR code you can scan, and it'll show you how to take care of your pen, especially if this is your first one. And I will also show you in the video how to ink your pen. This is the box it comes in, very classy, a script E for the Ellington logo. Has a hinged lid. As we open it, it's a very nice, classy presentation with the silvery gray on black. You have your pen here, and it comes in a plastic sheath. Again, this is the model, the Presidential Oath. They have a number of models. They also offer roller balls and mechanical pencils. And then it comes with ink cartridges. This does contain an ink converter. I'll show you that in a second. The cartridges, you get 3. Okay, you get 2 blacks and 1 blue. And if you don't have bottled ink and you're anxious to use your pen, you can pop in a cartridge and begin using it right away. If you want to use a cartridge, pen pulls apart. You unscrew it. The converter will be in here. There it is. And again, I'll show you in a minute how to load it up with ink. But if you do not have any bottled ink at the time you receive your pen, and this is your first pen, all you do with the cartridge is you have the little clear plastic tip there. That is going to go down into the pen, and you're going to push it until you feel or hear a click. And that will mean it's come into contact with the feeder of the pen, and then the ink that's in this cartridge will now feed down through the nib and onto the paper as you write. But you've got to push it down in there hard enough till you feel that click when it makes that connection. And I won't do that right now because I'm going to be putting ink in this one. The pen itself is really, I noticed straight out of the box, it's very comfortable in the hand. I have what I consider to be medium hands, and it is definitely, it's very lightweight. And uncapped, it has a really nice balance. You're going to be seeing fingerprints on here because I put lotion on my hands. Probably shouldn't have done that, but oh well. Does it post? Yes, it does. How does it feel posted? It gives it a little bit more weight. Not very much. It has good balance. If you have larger hands, you probably will want to post this pen for a medium size or small hand. I would use it unposted. That feels really good. Now I'm going to ink it up, and I'll show you how to ink up a fountain pen as I do that. All right, now I'm going to show you how to ink a fountain pen after I spilled 1/3 of this bottle. I'm quite upset because Pumpkin Patch is one of my favorite colors from Ferris Wheel Press. It is a lovely fall orange. And yeah, now I have a lot less of it. Anyways, this is how you ink a fountain pen. First of all, do not spill the ink like 𝗫𝗫 did. And there goes the nib onto the floor. Okay, the nib is back. You remove your converter. The converter works just like a suction. So here it is completely closed. And you rotate the top bit here. That pulls your converter, the little plunger, up inside the converter. You can bring it all the way up to the top like so. Now the converter is open, and this is how it's going to be when it's filled with ink. In order to fill it with ink, again, you make sure the converter is closed by bringing the plunger all the way down to the base, like so, as tight as it'll go. Depending on the brand, some brands can have a little plastic ball in there that prevents the plunger from coming into contact with the base of the converter here. Some could have a little spring. This one has got something in it. It looks like, yeah, it's a ring. It's a couple of rings of metal that are in there, if you can see that. And that is to allow for a little air bubble to be within the converter, because otherwise the ink will not flow out of the converter without there being a little tiny, tiny bit of air in it. Now, you open your ink, and again, you do not spill it, like how I did. And there's actually 2 ways you can fill up your pen. What some people like to do is they'll go ahead, they'll insert the converter all the way into their pen, and then they'll insert the entire nib into the bottle and suction the ink up into the converter that way. I don't like doing it just because it just gets, ink crud in there, and, who wants that, right? So I take the converter out, and I will insert the converter. Again, I make sure the plunger is all the way down to the base of the converter. I insert it. Now this one I've got to insert it quite a ways because I did spill some, and then you just turn it and draw the ink up into the converter. And you can do a little bit of ink, or you can completely fill up the converter. That is up to you. I tend to completely fill my converters. And there it is, because we are going into the fall season at the date I'm recording this. It is September the 15th, which happens to be my husband's birthday. So happy birthday to my hubby. Stuart is 50, how old is he? So I'm 61, he's 58. I am 3 years older than he is. Okay, so I got ink on me. That's typical. I always have ink or paint or something on me. But, the life of an artist. I'm sure most of you can relate. Now you've got your converter completely filled. I then clean the converter off because I don't want to get this ink inside the pen mechanism. Or the body of the pen, I should say, not the mechanism, because you do want it in the mechanism. Here is the nib that keeps making its way around my art table. And then you just go ahead and insert it. And again, you push it in until you feel or hear some type of a click, or until it just doesn't go in anymore. Now it is completely inserted. And then you take the pen, screw it back together again, and it's full. Now, depending on your brand of pen, some pens will start writing immediately. You don't need to do anything to it. Some take a tiny bit of priming. So let me grab a scrap piece of paper to show you how to safely do that with your pen. Okay, this is just regular typing paper. And you just take your pen. First of all, I tap it lightly, a couple of times. And then I tend to shake it a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and lightly press. Look at that. It's going to start to write immediately, which is really, really nice. And there is that gorgeous orange pumpkin patch color. And there you go. Now, let's say the pen was stubborn, all right? Let's say the nib was not responding. There wasn't any ink coming through. You're not seeing any color at all. So what do? Take your pen and you open it. That's the top of the plunger, remember. It is now at the very top of the converter. So what you would want to do is you look at your converter first and see if you can tell if there's any space in the ink. If you see an air bubble, which we have right here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's right up here. There is an air bubble. You take your converter and tap on it a couple of times. That gets the ink to run all the way to the distal end here, and then you just take your plunger and you see the air bubble up here, and you're going to carefully and slowly turn that plunger so that it begins to rise up within the well of the converter until you get this air bubble to disappear. And what's that doing is it's carefully pushing ink up into the nib, up into the feeder of the nib. And look here, and you'll see, sometimes you'll see an air bubble come out. You might see a tiny bit of shininess from the ink. If you see that shiny, like right there, stop. You now have ink in the feeder for the nib. So your pen should be good to go. And then look at the converter. When we started, the plunger was way up here, and now it's here. So that's how much air was inside the converter. All right. So now this pen's gonna just write like a dream, right? Because it's all fully loaded, and there you go. Nice. Now we'll see how it writes on a cheap traveler's notebook insert and then on Tomo River paper. Okay. Good ink flow right from the start. The nib is very responsive. It has what I think is a very slight flex to it, so that if you go heavy on the downstroke, you'll get a thicker line. See, heavy on the downstroke, light pressure on the upstroke. You see that line variation there? That's nice. Let me zoom in. And I owe a debt of gratitude to my first grade teacher, Mrs. McConaughey. She taught me how to be an underhand writer, where my hand is underneath my writing instead of right next to it, because as a lefty, I would be smearing constantly. I still smear once in a while, but not usually. So I have to thank her and give her public acknowledgement. She is long gone. She was an old lady when I was in her class. But she taught this lefty to be an underhand writer, and this lefty will always appreciate her. So there you are, Ellington Pens, the presidential oath, and this is with pumpkin patch. It's a nice nib. I like it. On this paper, I don't know if you can hear it. It is slightly scratchy, but that's part of the charm of writing with a fountain pen, in my opinion. So that doesn't bother me as long as the ink flows smoothly. There we go. And this ink is by 𝗪𝗀𝗄𝗹 Press. And with fall coming, hopefully they will have it available at their website. And if they do, I have a code for them as well. I'll pop it on the screen here, and it'll also be in the description along with all of my other codes and discount links. That will save you anywhere from 10 to 15%. But there you go. Looks really nice. Now we're going to try it on Tomoe River paper. I bought this Hobonichi journal a couple of years ago at a little shop that's local for me. Thank goodness, because it is a totally awesome shop. It's called Little Craft Place. Little Craft Place is located in Tomball, Texas. They have an online store. I'll try to remember to link to them below. This is Tomoe River paper. And I shall now write the same thing on here and report as to how it feels. So we'll start with the name of the pen. And when I get a journal, I always devote the last page of the journal for my pen and paint test page. I am a watercolor artist, and I like to be able to use watercolor in my journals. So a big part of my test page will be testing how watercolor does on the paper. Okay, first of all, on the Tomoe River paper, the nib is just, whoops, I meant to write pens, I'm talking, and I wrote press instead. I'll just finish the word. And then I'll go, eh. Sorry about that. Pens. The nib is just gliding on the Tomoe River paper. It's not scratchy at all, like in the cheap insert. You know, classic example, you get what you pay for, right? And this pen is the presidential oath. Again, I'm going a little bit heavier on the downstroke, light on the upstroke. I am still seeing a slight variation in line width, but not as much as I saw in the cheap insert, which is interesting. Oh, this is such a nice pen. It's so comfortable. I can't talk today and I'm filming. Great. Really light in the hand. So even if you have small hands, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to use this pen without any problem. And the ink, again, is pumpkin patch. I shall concentrate now so I don't write pumpkin pen. And this is by 𝗪𝗀𝗄𝗹 Press. Yeah, it's really nice. It's not scratchy at all on the Tomoe River paper, which, you know, goes to show you paper makes a big difference in how your pens are going to perform. Now I'll hold them side by side. And I'll zoom out just a little bit. But you can see how on the cheap insert, the difference in pressure on the nib creates line differentiation, whereas on the Tomoe River paper, not so much, but you can still see it. It looks very classy. I really like it. At $40 plus shipping, this pen is definitely a winner. I highly recommend it. And again, you can use my code 𝗫𝗫15, saves you 15% at Ellington Pens. There it is, the presidential oath. A gorgeous pen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. And again, if you like what you see, I ask that you please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and above all, drop a comment. The comments help me out so very, very much, and I appreciate it every time someone leaves behind a comment. Even if you didn't like the video, let me know. I can improve, hopefully.